Hey, well, welcome. Whoa. Welcome to Trash Talk.
Yeah. Hey, it's Halloween, right?
Who's
No,
there?
it's not Halloween yet.
The guy that never gives up.
It's not time yet.
Not yet. Another week or so. But
All right. Ridiculous. Guys are making me wait
it's
longer.
I know and you've been posting for those that have followed Brandon and everything. There's been posts going on almost every day with you guys decorating your pumpkins and getting all of the goods out. You have a budget for the year, and what about 80% of it is in October?
So I have a budget that I do very well at. I do very well on leading up to October. Then I start buying Halloween stuff ahead of time. Because some of my decorations 10, 12, 13 years old and they're done now. I gotta toss them and you know. But then October hits and there's all this new stuff that comes out. And then I overspend my budget. And then I play catch up until about December. And then
Right.
my but again and oddly enough, my during Christmas I balance it out pretty good because also throughout the year I've bought gifts for Luke and I just stash them, you know. And then I get back on track. But these next couple months, yeah, little stressful. It's not proper adulting, I'll be honest, but
Hey, it's you're a Toys R Us kid,
look, I mean, is there worse things that could be happening in my life? Yeah,
Oh,
of
yeah,
course.
yeah.
I mean, staying up night late at night, being like, oh God, okay, I got this much grocery money, I got this much gas, okay, this bill's paid, this one's not.
Yeah.
Oh, better call them.
Yeah. Hey, Luke, what do you want with your mac and cheese?
Yeah. Luke, I
Again.
got two pieces of bread and a piece of cheese. We can do peanut butter and jelly or grilled
Yeah.
cheese. You make
Yeah.
you pick,
And
buddy.
I'll cut it in half and you can decide which half of the sandwich you want.
And it's always an exciting day when it's like a Saturday. I'm like, oh sweet, you don't have lunch? I don't gotta pack extra food for you. Oh, what is he, leftovers? Anyway, but
Yes.
yes, all right, fine. What are we talking about today?
I was wondering, have you ever had a bad boss?
Ah, shoot, I'm about to get fired. No, yeah. Um, have I ever had a bad boss? Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely have had bad bosses.
See
And
it.
not include. What about you? I mean, like how? Like I mean, I
Well,
imagine.
yeah. I mean, it's a little tough for me because I've been self-employed most of my life. So,
Mm.
so, have I had a bad boss? Yeah, and I saw it in the mirror.
I have had some bad bosses, man, and I've been a bad employee at times too. In all fairness, but I've had some bosses that I just, dude, yeah, like bad beyond just being mean or scheduling, like just downright, they don't care about the employees. Like, it. They view them as just spokes on a wheel. And I
Right.
had a boss one time, I talked about this several times, but he actually fired me. And I mean, I probably deserved it for what I said to him, but I don't think I deserved it for the job I did. That boiling, started building up inside you, and you're like, okay, it's coming out, and the train has left the station. It was at a bar I was at, and this was back when you get your tips every night. This wasn't there were credit card tips, but it was still 80% cash. People were still paying
Right.
cash.
Right.
The good days. And I was tipping out the servers. I was looking at our money. We had a very busy night, but I didn't have a lot of money in the safe to like kind of float me over. This was a Saturday. And I knew I only had X amount of dollars to get me through to start off on a Sunday, but God, we were busy. And these servers and bartenders, they're about to make fat cash. And it's not a paycheck. You can't tell these servers that are used to getting tips every night and make 213 an hour, hey, I'll get you on Monday. Like that's not
Yeah.
okay. Now I had a couple servers that would offer that. They're like, we're fine. I'm okay. I'm in a good position. It's like this is my part-time job. Give it to the people that are here 6, 7 days a week. But anyway, the owner came in and he's like, all right, I need $400. And I'm like, yeah, so do I. I don't know what your point is. And he was like, well, I'm just going to take it out of the register, just write a slip. And I'm like, no, you're not. I said, you take that $400 out, I can't pay my people. Like they're not going to come into work tomorrow. And I got to be honest, I'm not going to come in, you know?
Yeah.
And he's like, don't worry, I'll get him on Monday. And I knew he would. But this was a busy Saturday. Some of these people have been working 10 hours already, you know? And
Yeah.
I'm like, no, man, I can't do that. I go, dude, they need it. They need the money. And he looks at me, he goes, F the servers. I need it.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
my response was,
The cut comes at the top.
yeah. So my response was, F you.
Yeah.
And he didn't take the money. He walked out. I got fired on Monday, but I still paid all my people. And he was that type of boss. He was willing to cut the server checks that he knew were going to bounce. He was willing to just take the money and do whatever he had to do with it because he was a criminal, robbing Peter to pay Paul and Paul's brother and
Right.
Paul's mother. And he didn't care. And if the servers quit, he didn't care. Servers that have been there 5-6 years didn't care.
And then when they get caught, of course, they plead innocent.
They do.
Yeah.
Well, he lost everything. In all fairness, he did lose all his places. I mean, like all of the locations that were his. I know there's a couple around now that aren't his, but he lost everything. So I was happy about it, and I had a job 4 days later, so I didn't, you know.
I did work for a short while for a hotel down in Florida, and I had what I would pretty much categorize as a bad boss. This guy would come in at 8 o'clock in the morning. He would have a staff meeting. He would dole out all of the things that needed to be done that day, and then he'd pick up his golf clubs and he'd leave.
Love it.
Then he'd come back 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You could tell because he's got, sunburn on his ears and, smells like sunscreen. And if you said to him, "How was your golf game?" you were taking your life in your own hands because if he had a good round, fine. But more times than not, he wasn't real happy. And so who'd he take it out on? The employees. Then he wanted to know, okay, where's the reports for everything that you did today? And sometimes you were overwhelmed, and he would just go off on everybody because they didn't do the job that they were assigned to do in the morning.
I don't get that. Like, I think people get in a position where they become a manager, a boss, and they just assume that they are completely immunity from doing anything,
Yeah,
from
they've
getting
arrived.
dirty. Yeah, they arrive. So now all they have to do is give you a list, check in, make sure numbers are good, and they can do what they want. And that is just not the case with any successful business, you know?
And then when upper management comes back and sees that the bottom line has been affected, they go to those middle management people and they say, why are our numbers so low? And it's middle management goes back and blames it on the troops, the boots on the ground. And so,
100%.
yeah, it reminds me of that movie. Remember The Breakfast Club?
Of course I do.
Yeah, the school advisor or something that would,
Yeah, well, or
yeah,
the movie Horrible Bosses.
yeah, yeah,
That movie, Horrible Bosses, is phenomenal.
yeah,
I had a boss, and it's always most of my crappy bosses are connected to the bars and restaurant industry, so that should tell you something. So I had
Well, and
this woman.
in Breakfast Club, he had a bottle in the drawer
That's what I'm
of his
saying.
desk. Sure.
Exactly. There was a bar, a little dive bar downtown Frisco. It's no longer there. I'll let you all figure it out. And I was in a bar for a while, and I was GM, and it was a great bar. Unfortunately, the owner sold it, and he was offering me position at the other one that was opening up, but I had this lag time, So I took this opportunity. I actually got, believe it or not, guys, I got headhunted for a while in a lot of bars and restaurants, a lot. I was the Frisco's version of John Taffer. I would come in and fix it up, make it good, and then inevitably I'd get bored, or the owners would be like, "Okay, we're good," and then try to pull some shenanigans,
Yeah.
So this particular dive bar downtown, I got offered the general manager position. She was very, very adamant on wanting to bring a better crowd in, wanted to do more live music, have a social media presence. I'm like, cakewalk. I have a checklist, you know? So I walked into the bar incognito. I might have known some of the regulars, but I just walked in and grabbed a drink and sat. Not, you know, and I watched everything and I was like, oh God. And I remember watching her getting plastered, just wasted,
Yeah.
and just buying shots for everybody, which inevitably just didn't mean pain. She
Yeah.
was just giving them to everybody. And she always tipped the bartender. I'll give her that, but whatever. And it got to the point that we were running so low on alcohol because of her. No matter like that, they were ordering other bottles and hiding them
It
to
wasn't,
serve the.
yeah, it wasn't
Yeah,
ringing the register.
it was unbelievable. So I remember one time she asked me, "Hey, leave the keys. I'm coming up there, but I can't find the keys. Just leave them under the doormat because I want to come in and hang out." It's like 2 o'clock in the morning, you know, and I'm like, "Okay, I'm not here tomorrow, so you know, I'm just telling you." She's like, "Don't worry about it. I'll clean everything up." She had a party, closed the bar, like it was closed, employees left. I went back and watched footage. She had a party. She had like 13 people there. She was behind the bar drinking, pouring drinks. She was, which is completely like illegal, by the way, even if it is your place. TABC frowns on that.
Yeah.
And I came in 2 days later. They didn't get a liquor order because they went to put it in and it bounced. She hadn't paid the previous liquor bill, so they weren't going to deliver any liquor. She called me and wanted me to go to the liquor store to buy liquor, bring it back, dump it in the bottles that had the barcode on them so we wouldn't get in trouble. And I was like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, this was eventually she lost the bar, but the
Of
cops
course.
came one night, like
Duh.
these people, and then like I was getting bounced checks towards the end because I was on salary, and I was getting paid every other week, and it was be like I'd go to deposit it, bounce, and then it would take me 5 days to get the recovery from it, and then to get her to pay the bounce fee, and oh my God! And this is like like a norm in a lot of these places, by the way.
Yeah. I also had a boss once that was a micromanager, and
Oh, I love that.
you know, you've probably been down that hole too. And that is somebody that gives you a job to do, and you say, okay, I think I can handle this. And then they are looking over your shoulder and telling you exactly what to do here and there. And you say, you gave me this project, let me do the project. If I screw it up, tell me and I'll redo it if necessary.
I'll
But
fix it or whatever.
yeah, you know, but then of course, when it gets done and it gets done right, they take the credit for it. And
That is my favorite. That is my favorite. We're going to take the credit without giving the employees the shout out, the call out, the positive things. Look, anybody who works with me or has ever worked with me knows I don't like going to meetings. I think 90% of the meetings are a waste of time.
yeah,
It's a lot of the reasons I take Wednesdays off work because I don't want to go to the meeting because it's dumb. I don't care if people watch this. I tell them there. Now, there are sometimes I will go to those meetings because there are important things. We're talking about holiday planning. We're talking about new stat, like 100% agree. But most of the time, the meeting could have been an email. I don't need to be there.
right.
And
This is
I
another
will
reason
go
to have
out.
coffee and donuts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I will go out of my way, though, to go to a meeting to give a call out to another partner, employee, staff member that has done something good because I want people to know that there is people behind me. There are people next to me that have busted their butt that deserve a call out, that deserve some love, you know? So I will go to meetings for that. But I have seen bosses where I have been waiting for them to say, like, oh, well, that was Brandon's idea. Nothing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, cool.
Because
Cool.
because then when management hands them the plaque saying for an exemplary work and all, whatever happened to the guy that says, I never could have done this without all the other people in this room.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? Keep the plaque. It's
Yeah,
when they hand them the bonus and the raise that that you
exactly.
know, I can't pay my bill with a plaque. Okay, you want to give me a bonus, you want to give me a raise, you want to give me a shout out, I'll take it. And I think
Yeah,
that's a big issue, and I see it a lot. I do.
yeah. But I'll show you where you can put your plaque.
Yeah. And I fight for it, like I'm not a guy that likes to go around and tell people like at work, like, look what I did. Like I don't like, I think the proof is in the results, you know what I mean? Like I don't need somebody to pat me on the back every day. I don't. Matter of fact, the best thing people can do is leave me alone and let me do my job. That's my
That's right.
win.
That's right.
If I only talk to you once a week, we're good. Just leave me alone, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Let me do my thing.
let me do my thing. If I screw up, talk to me. Come on. Give me that feedback so I can learn. I'm okay with that.
I mean,
But
that's the
I don't need an accolade.
basic way of that's the basic way of doing things and all.
That's the way it should be. That's
Yeah,
the way it should be.
give people tasks, because if you give people tasks and all, then you can say you did this well, or you didn't do too bad, but I would improve a little bit on this. And that's the part of the learning process. But to just tell somebody, go do this, and then when they screw up, it's their fault.
It's
I'm
their fault.
sorry, you've heard me say this before. Whenever I'm in a situation where I see bad service in a business, I don't blame that employee. I blame the management for
It's
not
true.
overseeing the employee process.
And my biggest thing is like I don't like when a boss will be like, well, I have 21 years experience. No, you have 21 years on the job. Your experience doesn't mean
Right.
anything,
Yeah.
if you aren't executing. I have a lot of experience in certain areas. I know there are people out there that have more or even less that have learned different things. So the number doesn't mean anything to me. Like, I don't care if you have 15 years experience or 15 years on the job compared to my 1, 2, 3, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. If you're doing it wrong or you're not learning from it, then you're just punching a clock and collecting
Yeah.
a paycheck and nobody noticed you.
You've had
You know?
21 good years of luck.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That you,
Now, I think it's okay. Like,
or your father's the boss.
yeah, one of those.
Yeah.
I think it's okay, like I think a good boss, utilizes their resources and utilizes their people. You hired those people mostly. I mean, maybe sometimes you got stuck with them or inherited them, but you hired them for their skills. Unless they proved you wrong, which then they wouldn't be with the company, you hired them. So utilize that. Now, also tell them about your experiences doing maybe the same thing, and maybe somewhere in the middle that's what works, or maybe they're like, you know what, I never looked at it from that point of view. I never looked. That's happened to me. I've talked to people that don't have nearly as much experience as I do, and I've talked to them about something and they have brought up a point that I didn't even think about, and I'm like, oh crap. And I love taking that information and
Right.
that process and incorporate it into who I am. But you can't just tell somebody this is the way, A, B, C, D, and that's it. Everything else is wrong, because
And
that's
there's
not a
probably a
boss,
lot of
man.
people that are watching us and just saying, how many times have I heard that do it this way because this is the way we've always done it.
Yeah,
You know,
I know.
and then sure enough, when they say we're going to be closing in 60 days,
I was just
it's
going to say that.
because you're still doing it the way you've always done it.
Look, Kroger has done things the way they've always done it, and they ain't doing too hot right now, regardless of the merger. Okay,
Right.
you got companies out there, bars and restaurants that have been doing things for 20 years. They're not adapting. I mean, even Walmart, which billions, and they got a lot of money, a lot of money. They are trying to adapt.
Yeah.
So whether they succeed or not, who knows? But the reality is, if you continue to do the same thing the same way year after year, you're going to fail. You got to take risks, you got to take chances, and you got to listen to your people.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, here at Trash Talk, I think you got the best boss in the world.
I am pretty awesome.
So we're going to go out and get ourselves a plaque, and you come back next week and join us again next Tuesday, 8 a.m. right here for Trash Talk. Bye.
Later.